The quote on the front here is from Representative Bob Inglis. It says, "Ms. Corrin, are you available to run for president?" And let me say, I can vouch for this. I was sitting next to Ann when he said this. It was testimony we were doing together before the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and she was particularly eloquent in this point. It was a very memorable moment. He looked at her and said, "Are you available to run for president?" So, congratulations. Great vision to put that on the cover of the book, too. It's good to see a lot of old friends and some new ones. I want to thank a number of people, including my old friend Irving Minster, who was one of my first tutors on these topics, as well as a great team from within DOE and around the federal government that's here working on this issue. We've been working together, teams from DOE, DOD, OSTP, USGS, lots of other alphabet soup agencies I can name. So it's been a great team so far, and I think we have a lot more work we're going to do on this. At energy conferences today, what I am discovering is the hottest topic is shale gas, interestingly. The reason is pretty striking. Recoverable reserves of shale gas have increased sixfold in the past few years, thanks to new drilling technologies. And this is an absolutely transformational increase. U.S. natural gas imports are now projected to decline steadily, whereas just a few years ago they were projected to increase for the foreseeable future. And these large shale gas reserves are believed to exist around the world, in China, Eastern Europe, elsewhere, with potentially dramatic implications for patterns of energy use around the world. So why do I raise this at a conference on technology and rare earth metals? Before answering that question, let me talk about another mineral, or another resource, which is a mineral, a much less well-known one, called rhenium. Rhenium is the chemical element with atomic number 75, as many in the audience here will know. In part due to its very high melting point, rhenium is a critical component in nickel-based superalloys, which are capable of functioning under very high stress. These superalloys are used in jet engines and military aircraft and some of the world's most advanced gas turbine engines. But rhenium is very rare. It's a byproduct from copper ores. On average, 120 tons of copper are needed to produce 30 grams of rhenium. It's quite a ratio. In recent years, as rhenium's use in turbine blades and other applications has grown, its price has increased sharply. So metallurgists at General Electric have worked to develop alternative superalloys that use less rhenium. GE has partnered with the U.S. Navy and leading airlines to recycle turbine blades that contain rhenium. These steps have helped mitigate the risk of future rhenium supply disruptions and price spikes. So what do these two stories tell us, shale gas and rhenium? I believe they tell us that supply constraints are not static. Strategies for addressing shortages of strategic resources are available if we act wisely. We can invest in additional sources of supply. We can develop substitutes. We can reuse materials and find ways to use them more efficiently. We can consider use of stockpiles and other strategic reserves. Not every one of these strategies will work every time, but taken together, they offer a set of approaches that we should pursue as appropriate whenever potential shortages of natural resources loom on the horizon. And that brings us to rare earth metals. As participants at this conference know, rare earths are typically defined to include the 15 elements in the periodic table with atomic numbers 57 through 71, along with several other elements. They include elements unfamiliar to most people, such as lanthanum, cerium, neodymium, and europium. Ironically, rare earth elements are not actually rare. Their misleading name probably comes from early mining of these elements in Europe, I'm told, which focused on extraction from minerals that were in fact quite uncommon. Most rare earth elements are widely distributed in the Earth's crust. Indeed, the abundance of rare earths in the Earth's crust is higher than those of some other major industrial metals. Even the least abundant rare earths are found in greater quantities than, for example, bismuth and cadmium. Rare earth elements have many desirable properties, including the ability to form unusually strong, lightweight magnetic materials when alloyed with other metals. They also have distinctive and valuable optical properties, including fluorescence and emission of coherent light, important for lasers. Many of these properties result from the presence of an unfilled inner electron shell in their atomic structure. Now, these properties and others have made rare earth metals especially valuable in a number of applications, including for clean energy technologies. Lanthanum, atomic number 57, is used in batteries. Neodymium, atomic number 60, is used in magnets for electric motors. Europium, atomic number 63, is used in colored phosphors and lasers. Rare earth metals are also used in manufacturing energy-efficient windows, and capacitors, sensors, and scintillators used in electricity transmission. Now, although rare earth metals are found in many places on Earth, including the United States, Canada, Australia, Brazil, and South Africa, they are difficult to extract in profitable quantities without substantial time and cost. This has led to geographically concentrated production. Now, geographic concentration in the production of rare earth metals is not new. Prior to 1948, most of the world's rare earth deposits came from Brazil and India, or most of the rare earth production came from deposits in Brazil and India. In the following decades, production shifted to monazite deposits, actually, in South Africa and elsewhere. In the 1970s and 80s, global production was dominated by output from the Mountain Pass mine here in the United States and California. And today, although production of rare earths still occurs in a number of countries, more than 95% of global supply is produced in China. It goes without saying that diversified sources of supply are important for any strategic material. So too are substitutes and strategies for reuse and recycling. If rare earth elements are going to play an increasing role in our economy, along with other strategic materials, including lithium, we need to pursue these strategies. And there's every reason to believe that rare earth metals will play an increasing role in the global economy as the world transitions to clean energy. This transition is already well underway. The world is on the cusp of a clean energy revolution. Here in the US, the Obama administration is making historic investments in clean energy. Say a few words about that. Starting with the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, which was the largest one-time investment in clean energy in our nation's history. More than $80 billion under that statute for that purpose alone. At the Department of Energy, we're investing our $37 billion in recovery funds in electric vehicles, batteries and advanced energy storage, a smarter and more reliable electric grid, and wind and solar technologies, among other topics. Let me just add that I've been at the Department of Energy now since last spring. I've worked in other places in the federal government before. I've never worked at the Department of Energy. It is a really fun place to work these days, in part because we have, I think, a transformational leader, Energy Secretary Steve Chu, who people will know won the 1997 Nobel Prize in physics. Really just an extraordinary guy. We have the President of the United States talking more about energy issues than I think any president.